All right. Good morning, everybody. How are you guys? I hope you guys are good. Okay. So, this real life scam that we fell into, let me just tell you a little bit about it. So, we are in the middle of moving, right? So, we thought we had found this perfect place for us out in the country, right? Just everything we could have wanted. So, I'm talking to this person throughout the day, the other day, and they, they're the owner of the home, because I did my homework. I looked into the owner of the house, looked into how long they lived there, looked into everything basically that they had told me. So, like I said, thought we had found the perfect house. And I'm talking to this person, right? And then everything's good. So I'm asking all kinds of questions about the property, about the heating, about everything about the house. And then I'm like, okay, so I'm like, everything sounds good. Like, when can I set up a time to come see the house? And she sends, she's like, oh, well, you got to fill out the rental application first and you got to pass the application process. I'm like, okay, so send me the application over. So she sends me the rental application. Okay. So I get this application, Tillman rental application. So I go and I look this up before I even fill anything out. It's a legit rental application site. Okay. So I'm like, okay, I fill it out. And I hear back from her a couple hours later. Her, them, whatever. And she's like, okay, you passed the application process. Everything went through fine. You want to get it's the house is yours if you want it. I'm like, okay, perfect. Right. Sounds great. Now, when can I meet you to look at the property? Well, I don't live there anymore. I just recently moved out in November and relocated to California. Okay. Then she says, but my maintenance, and then I go, well, the only thing I'm concerned about is, did you winterize the property? Because if you didn't, like, there could be a bunch of busted pipes. I mean, it's been wicked cold. So she's like, oh, I have a maintenance guy who's there. If anything's broken, it'll be fixed before you move in. I'm like, okay, perfect. You have a maintenance man. So when can I go there and meet the maintenance man and walk through the property? Well, the maintenance man doesn't have any keys. Now, this is after, mind you, that I had filled out all of this whole application with all my personal information, yada, yada, yada. Of course, in a rental application background check, they need all your information, right? Which is not unheard of. Like, I've filled out applications before. So she's like, well, the maintenance man doesn't have keys. And I'm like, okay, we're like, something's not right here. Like, something is not right. So earlier, no, not even. So I'm scrolling through houses still. This is probably a few minutes before she called and told me about the maintenance man. I see the house on sale, listed on sale for Zillow, because she did tell me that she originally wanted to sell the home, but she hadn't gotten any bites on the house. And then she just decided what a hassle it would be with her leaving and moving. So she just wanted to rent it out, and she was going to do a lease to own deal. So I said to her, I'm like, well, I see your house listed on Zillow. Like, if we get the house, are you going to take it off the market? Oh, yes. I've already called the realtor. It'll be, the listing will be taken down. Okay. So at this point, we know something's not right. So I go, you know what? I'm going to call the realtor listed on Zillow. So I call this realtor. I'm sorry. This was a Coldwell Banker website. So I call this realtor, and she didn't answer. I left a message. She calls me right back. I'm like, I've been in the contact with the owner from da 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 da. And she's like, and I'm like, and we're doing a rent to own agreement, whatever. And the realtor goes, I'm sorry, what's the address again? And I told her, and she's like, that home's not for rent. She can't rent that out to you. She's in a 6-month contract with us. And are you sure? Who'd you talk to again? And I was like, I said the owner's name. She's like, yep, that's the owner. And I'm like, well, that's who I've been talking to all day. And she goes, and I told her the reason why I was calling, because I had all these questions. And this woman said she just relocated to California. And the realtor's like, she doesn't live in California. And I'm like, okay. And so now I'm like, oh shit, right? So she goes, can I have the number where I go? I'm like, I've been talking to her all day. She's like, can I have the number where you talked to her at? So I'm like, yeah, I gave her the number. And she goes, where'd you see the for sale ad? I'm like, Craigslist. That's where we found this house that we're in now, right? So, I mean, so anyway. So I give her the phone number and she's like, that's not the owner's phone number. And I was like, son of a bitch. So I'm like, okay, we went scammed, right? Because this person was like, okay, I sent you over. I skipped a part. After we had talked about it, the owner was like, okay, I just sent you over the lease agreement signed by my attorney, you know, and you guys can sign it and then send the money over to me. And so at this point, we know what's going on. We know we're being scammed. So I'm like, you know what? Let's get as much information as we can to file a report. So I go, okay. I'll fill out the rental application, or I'll fill out the lease agreement. Where do I send the money? And they were like, Cash App or PayPal. And I was like, no. I go, I don't have any of those. I can only do a cashier's check. And they were like, why would you pay by check? I go, because that's how I have my receipts and that's how I pay my bills. So they're like, okay, well, wouldn't it just be easier? And I'm like, nope. So they're like, okay, I'll send you my financial advisor's information. I'm like, all right, and I need to know where to send the check. You know, trying to get as much information at this point from this person as I can so I can report it. So they send me back their information, Wells Fargo Bank, Oregon, send in the name of Bionics Design Inc. I'm like, that's weird. So I go, when I Google Bionics Design Inc. Well, there's a Bionic Design Inc., which deals with prosthetics, right? And that's in, I want to say, Washington. But in the information they had sent me, it's Bionics with an S, Design Inc. And so Chad was like, so I didn't even notice that S at first. Like I didn't notice and so Chad's like, look at that name again and make sure there's not one letter or anything off. So I'm like, I'm like, okay, there's an S on the one they sent me. There's not an S on the actual Bionic Design Inc. So we're like, oh, what the hell's going on here? Well, come to find out, this huge scam that's filtered through Oregon, Washington. Like apparently it's all over the place. Apparently they're hitting as many people as they can. Now, luckily, okay, so we didn't tell this person that night that we knew what was up, right? So they sent the information of where they wanted us to send the money. And I didn't say anything else that night. I wake up to a text the next morning. Good morning. Did you send the payment? And I was just really pissed off because we had our hopes set on getting that place. Like it was perfect. Like we don't have a lot of time. So, and then I was just mad. Like I was upset. Like who does this? Right. So when they sent me that text in the morning, they sent me that text at 5 a.m. my time. I'm like, what? So, anyway, so I got to work the next day and I was like, that's it. I've had enough. So I texted them back and I have our whole conversation all day recorded. So I send them a message back saying, listen, I talked to the realtor. I know you're not the owner. I know this is a scam. My uncle who works for the FBI, this is what I said. My uncle who works for that. I called my uncle who works for the FBI. He now has a team looking into you. I gave him our whole conversation, all the information you gave me, the bank information, all of it. And now karma's coming for you. Basically, that's what I said. And I said, oh, by the way, because I knew they had gotten all my personal information from the rental application. So I'm like, oh, by the way, I go, they're also keeping an eye out. If any of my information pops up anywhere, they'll automatically trace it right to you. Right. So I basically scared the crap out of this person. Never heard another word from him. Never heard another word from him. Contacted the realtor back again, who contacted the owner. And I was like, you should really let the owner know that somebody is out there trying to scam families in her name, and something should be done about it. So the owner of the home also filed a report. But it pisses me off that you have people out there who, instead of getting off their lazy asses and going out and looking for a job or getting a job and working like a normal human being should, they want to sit home and scam people, scam families, trying to scam them out of their money that they actually worked hard for. And it's just ridiculous. So we're left with like, what the, like, luckily we didn't send our money. Luckily we figured it out before we actually sent them our money. How, but still, that's not the point. The point is, how many other families did they do this to? How many other families have been scammed by these people? Apparently a lot. Apparently it's like a huge scam network that's all working together in multiple states. Okay. It's totally crazy. And I just walked right into it. Not even knowing, just walked right into it. I was joking. I said to Chad, I'm like, I go, we should just go to Mexico and walk over the border illegally, and maybe we'll be taken care of. And he laughed and he goes, who are you kidding? We're American. That'll never happen. So, it is what it is. You live and you learn. But I wanted to let you guys know, because it just pisses me off that real life scammers and grifters and bums, basically, who can't get out there and work for themselves, or can't get out there, don't want to get out there and work for themselves, just spend their time trying to scam families out of money, scam, get people's personal information. I'm like, good luck with that. Like, you can't even, you ain't going to get shit in my name. If you think you stole my identity to get a payday, you got another thing coming. Joke's on you. I say it all the time. I'm like, if somebody were to steal my truck, because I'm like, who's going to steal my truck? If somebody were to steal my truck, they'd be like, oh man, stole the wrong truck today. This junker, so that's how it is. So that's the only upside to all of this. But yeah, I wanted to let you guys know what was going on, because people should be aware. And, even if it looks legit and you do your research and you check out these companies and you check out these, they're good. Scammers are good today. Right. So anyway, that's the story. Just wanted to let you guys know what was going on, and to be aware, just be really aware, because even when it looks 100% legit, you never know if it is or not. I love you guys. Let me hear your thoughts and comments down in the comment section below. There's all of our links. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram. Consider joining our Patreon. If you want to become a member of the family, go ahead and join up, and make sure you sub to the channel and like this video. Anybody who wants to donate, the links are all down in the description below. I love you guys. Stay strong, stay healthy, stay safe. Keep asking those hard questions. Keep spreading that light. I'll see you next time.